DNA Studios. Step into a new dimension.
Hello, guys. Welcome back to another DNA Studios episode. My name is Aaron, and welcome. Today, I have a great video for you guys. Today, we are going to be doing two things, actually. So sit back, chill, relax. We're going to get into a little conversation about this Ultra Instinct soda. I will be trying this today. The question is, can I taste Ultra Instinct?
Yeah, I do.
Maybe, we'll see. And also, I am going to be talking a little bit about Dandadan. Yes, that's right. I finally did watch Dandadan. And I have a little pros and cons thing for you, a little cheat sheet here with my pros and cons and my thoughts that I will be going through with you, and some of the things that came up while watching the show and the series. So stay tuned and sit back, chill. We're gonna talk about this stuff and see if I can taste Ultra Instinct and have some fun today. So yeah, anyway, this should be a good one. I hope you guys like this video. And yeah, so anyway, without ado, let me get right into this. So anyway, let's start this. Let me crack my Ultra Instinct drink here, and yeah, we're gonna start. So if you guys don't know, Dandadan is one of the big hit anime that came out this year, and it is pretty crazy. It is kind of like how can I describe it? It is the easiest way to describe it. Well, let me see here. Actually, I think I do have a description here of how to describe it. The best way to describe it is it is a horror comedy sci-fi series. It is a really interesting story and also a very fascinating anime. So if you're not familiar with this one, do go check out Dandadan. And so today I have some thoughts, and please guys, try not to kill me in the comment section below, because I know there are people who really like this show, and this is a hot anime right now. So don't kill me in the comments. I have some controversial takes here and some hot takes here, so try not to kill me. Remember, my opinion is my personal opinion. It doesn't mean that the show is bad. It doesn't mean anything like that. These are just my thoughts and my kind of personal thoughts on the show. If you like this show, that's fantastic, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't watch it. You really should watch this show. Check this one out. It is cool. It is awesome. It is a really interesting series. So don't take this personally, guys. Don't kill me in the comments. There are a lot of people who really do love the show. The music is sick. I love Creepy Nuts, the artist who does all the music. It is so awesome. I listen to their music a lot. So yeah. Anyway, so like I said, let me crack my soda here so I can actually get into the Ultra Instinct thing. And this I picked up, actually, someone picked this up for me at one of the stores. You can find these sodas, and this is Ultra Instinct. We'll be cracking this one open just in a moment here. So yeah, anyway, so we're going to talk a little bit about Dandadan.
Yeah, I do.
Whoops. And yeah, we're going to get into this. So, okay, so I will start with the pros. Okay, guys, so here are the pros that I have. So here's the first one. A unique blend of genres. Dandadan combines horror, comedy, and sci-fi, making it an interesting watch for fans of multiple genres, which is true. And also, it's also an intense watch for fans of all genres. So I have a kind of controversial opinion on this one due to the way that Dandadan starts. As many of you guys might know, the show starts off with the two main characters, Momo and Ocarine, or Ken Takakura, if you want to call him by his actual name. They kind of meet each other, and they also kind of bicker about ghosts and aliens. And as you know, those ghosts and aliens do end up attacking. We are drinking our Ultra Instinct soda too, so I will let you know how this is in a second. So anyway, back to Dandadan. Those two things end up attacking. Do I taste Ultra Instinct? I'm not quite sure. It's kind of apple flavored, actually. So those two ghosts and aliens attack, which makes it kind of interesting with the horror and the comedy genre. But the first episode is very off-putting due to that kind of losing your balls and Turbo Granny and the aliens, the banana organs thing with the aliens, and then the ghosts with Turbo Granny taking your nutsack. Here's my controversial kind of take on this. I feel like that that the main character for this show kind of is Momo, only because she's got the least horrifying and like least she doesn't really have anything happen to her other than unlocking her mental abilities. Which, if you ever look at anime or any kind of show, usually the main protagonist, when they unlock an ability or they gain a superpower, right? There's usually not too many downsides, at least not for your main protagonist. Depends on the anime. This is not always the case, but usually when it's a main protagonist and someone that the writer or the artist likes a lot, there aren't really many downsides. And my hot take is that Momo doesn't have many downsides to her specific situation. Yes, there are aliens so after her, and yes, they're after her banana organs, but she is the character that is in the, if you look at it this way, her situation is not as bad as Ocarine, where Ocarine is missing his balls and the rest of his junk, which is horrible. Okay, and that's a terrible situation. Nobody okay, you could argue that Ocarina, the power of Turbo Granny is awesome, which, yeah, I agree. The power of Turbo Granny is cool, and the new look, the transformation he gets is really cool. But, I mean, look, which situation would you want to be in? Would you rather lose your nutsack and everything else down there, or would you want to unlock your mental abilities? To me, I feel like the writer and the creator of Dandadan favors Momo more than Ocarine. But that's my controversial hot take, okay? Not everyone's going to agree with that. Not everyone's going to say that. And to be completely honest with you, the show focuses on both characters as a main character. I have my thoughts on that. I feel like Momo is more the main character than Ocarine or than Kentakakura. But keep in mind that throughout this whole show, they have actually been focusing on both characters, and the two characters work together to beat Turbo Granny and also do other things, go through, try to defeat the aliens, all that stuff. So keep that in mind. And yeah, it is really interesting and does keep you on the edge of your seat, and it does throw in some comedy elements, which we'll get into later. The second thing is engaging characters. So it says the dynamic between the protagonist Momo and Ocarine is compelling, offering both horror and depth. That is true. There is a lot of creepiness and terrifyingness to the story. Both Turbo Granny is creepy, but also funny. Where with Turbo Granny, the way that in the first episode, the way that Ocarine approaches Turbo Granny and what she says is really hilarious. I'm not going to say it due to, I don't want to get in trouble on YouTube, but the whole you gobble your dong thing and that, yeah, YouTube don't get mad at me for that. Yeah, I don't want to get striked. Anyway, it's really funny, but also horrifying at the same time. And it does add depth to both characters, as well as the way they tell the story does add a lot of depth. And the dynamic between the two, because the two are first they're kind of at each other's throats at first, so they don't quite get along, but then they find out later on that, because Momo starts by bullying Ocarine at first, and then once they find out that they have something in common with ghosts and aliens and the supernatural, then they do something which I don't think is a good idea. They go looking for trouble. Now, if you know anything about horror films, or if you know anything about horror movies, or if you're a horror fan, right? Usually or if you're just someone who knows anything about being in a horrible situation or stuff, usually it's never good to go looking for the ghost or alien, right, on purpose. If they find you, or if you happen to live in a haunted house, right, or something, and you get haunted by ghosts, okay, I get it, right? You didn't look for trouble, you kind of fell into trouble. In this case, they go looking for trouble. Bad idea. But it does add a very, very interesting character dynamic and is also very engaging. And keeps the audience, you guys, engaged, which is really cool. And look, that is part of a good story, is being able to engage and being able to have your audience engage with the characters, get to know your characters, and have an interesting dynamic between them. That is awesome. I feel like the writer did a really good job, and the creator does a really good job of implementing this, as well as also mixing that horror and that sci-fi horror genre together really well, and it works. It does work very well, as well as keeping that supernatural vibe, the aliens, the ghosts, and all that stuff. The other thing there's also a little off-putting about the show that I will say, and also that's kind of keeps you engaged, is the situations they get into. So with Turbo Granny, the Ocarina going into the tunnel and finding Turbo Granny or bumping into Turbo Granny, which is not a great idea. You should never run into weird tunnels that are haunted or could be haunted. And the idea of Turbo Granny being this kind of ghostly figure who is kind of protecting the deceased women who have died in that tunnel. So apparently there's a murderer that had murdered a bunch of young ladies in this tunnel, and Turbo Granny, that they kind of, I guess those spirits kind of combined with Turbo Granny, or kind of became Turbo Granny over time, and were protecting those women those young girls who had died in that tunnel. And that's how Turbo Granny became kind of what she is, and kind of why she looks in that tunnel, which is both very creepy but also really off-putting in the fact that she just kills people. Well, she doesn't kill you, but she just takes your nuts and takes anything valuable to you, and then she curses you, which can be very off-putting to some people. The curse thing, to me, the curse thing wasn't the worst part of it. To me, the stealing your nutsack was pretty bad. If it was me, I would have said, okay, I would have rather have Momo's situation where you gain superpowers, right? Although getting your banana organ stolen is not really good either. But see, that didn't happen in Momo's situation because Ocarina rescued her. Anyway, that's leading to my next point. That was pretty horrifying and off-putting with the Turbo Granny taking your nuts and everything down below there, which is bad. So that was both very creepy and off-putting. And then the other thing too is that, like I said before, with the other side of it, with the aliens, and you have to remember that those two situations do push the story forward. So yes, it's off-putting, and yeah, it's dark and creepy, but it also helps to push the story forward because it kind of sucks you in more to the story and pushes the story forward. You have to put your characters in some kind of situation to move the story forward. And I felt like this was both very creepy, but also a little off-putting, but also helped the story really get started and pull you into the story faster, which is definitely a pro to the show, and to just being able to watch the show and really get into it and to move the story, the pacing much quicker. So yeah, so that was those are some of the things, and like I said, my opinion may not be popular. I kind of that stealing your nutsack and then the banana organ thing, which don't ask me what banana organs have to do with this. Who knows? The aliens, they want to take Momo's banana organs. Sorry, that's the heater kicking on here. It's cold in here. Sorry about that. So yeah, the aliens, both Turbo Granny and also the aliens attack at the same time, which is crazy. And in Momo's case, she doesn't really lose anything because of Ocarina, but is put in a equally terrifying situation too. However, my hot take on this one is that I feel like Momo is more of the main character than Ocarina, only because of that factor where, if you look at what happened to Ocarina, his situation, he actually had something horrible happen to him and really terrifying happen to him. But also being possessed is not fun. If you've ever watched any horror movies, you'll know from the horror movies that having a curse put on you or being possessed by a spirit or whatever, it ain't fun. It's not good. And it's pretty bad. And also walking through barriers that are protected right from spirits and burning up, like just randomly catching on fire. That's pretty bad, which happens to Ocarina and later on in the show when he goes to enter when they go to Momo's house to get help from her grandmother, who is also a badass and also pretty interesting, actually. The grandmother is really funny. So yeah, as a quote from another YouTuber and from Danny Yamato, some of you might be familiar with him, who does reaction videos for anime and cartoons and all kinds of stuff. Friendly guys don't go around stripping girls naked. The reason I say this is because in Momo's case, the alien species claims to be friendly. And one of the first things they do is strip off her clothes, which is terrible. But like I said before, she doesn't actually have anything taken. And also her situation, she could just walk away and say, hey, look, I'm done. I don't really have to help you. I have powers now. Like, she could just say, screw you, and It's just like you got cursed and that's your fault. But she doesn't. She does help Ocarine. She's not really the nicest about it in the beginning of the series because he lost to her, and the fact that she even sent him down in a tunnel with Turbo Granny is horrible. But so anyway, so that's my kind of hot take, and I think that the creator favors Momo, and she's in, out of all the situations they're in, she doesn't have anything really terrible happen to her because of the fact that she gets away from the aliens and Ocarine saves her. Now, some people could say, oh, well, hey, wait, that's not really a downside. And how can you say that? Because Ocarine was there to save her, and it's only because of Ocarine getting his nuts stolen that she was able to help him. Yes, that is true. But at the same time, I'm like, well, if you're gonna have something horrifying happen to one of your main characters, it would also be more interesting to have both characters have something taken, as it would push the story forward a lot. It would move the pacing a little quicker, but also be more interesting because it would put them in two very different situations, and shut up, Alexa, and also up the ante for the goal of the story, and also give you more of kind of a plot and also a bigger plot twist to the show. But I mean, look, that's my opinion, and not everyone's going to agree with that. Also, the other thing too is that they may end up going that way later on in the show. The aliens may still get Momo at some point. We don't know yet. But I mean, look, the story is still good even without that. Even without adding that other piece in there. Just them trying to get Ocarine's balls back is actually enough to push the story forward in a way where you're still going to want to watch. I just feel like that also shows that my particular thought on that is that shows that Momo is more of the main character rather than Ocarine. Although some people are like, hey, look, some people will say that no, that's not true since the show does tend to focus on both characters, and because she helps him defeat Turbo Granny, that it actually is. And the actual creator actually did come out and say that it is focused on both main characters. So do keep that in mind as well. But from my perspective and from what I've been watching so far, my personal thought is that I feel like the creator leans more towards Momo than Ocarine as a main character, and only because of that factor where nothing really happened to Momo horrifying. If things had happened to both characters, okay, then you could say, well, I'm not sure who's really the main character because both would be in a horrifying situation. It's kind of like, think of it this way. There used to be an old saying in the cartoons, right? The most beloved character never gets hurt, right? So that the main protagonist usually, and if the artist is a fan or likes the main character, normally this does not always happen in anime, mind you, okay? So anime breaks this rule, but think of it this way, right? If the artist or creator favors one character more than the other, or it's a female character, or it's like a character that maybe they want that character to stay alive throughout the whole show, or they have a goal set for that character, normally nothing really horrifying will happen to them, or it won't kill them immediately. Now, I know what you're going to say. There's going to be like a lot of comments saying, you're dead wrong. There are shows where the main character dies in the beginning. Yeah, I get it, okay? Anime breaks this rule because there are shows where the main character dies in the very first episode. And also there are shows where the main character, something does happen where, so High School DxD, the main character dies and becomes a devil. So yes and no. This is my feeling on this is that I think in this particular situation with Dandadan that the main writer does favor Momo, but like I said, that's just my personal opinion, and that's not exactly the case, as they have come out and said that the main character is both. But this is just me looking at the situations they're in and how they did it, and just maybe, well, in my case, adding stuff to the story and kind of thinking of ways that they could have done a lot more in this particular with this particular story. There's like a lot more options they could have added in and things they could have done. And also, I feel like it does lean a little towards. It leans kind of towards Momo, in my personal opinion. But hey, look, not everyone's going to agree with that. So, okay, the last and final thing I want to mention is the high quality animation. So, production by the production by the artist and the creator of the anime is known for very vivid and fluid animation styles, which is true. The animation studio that did Dandadan has an amazing animation, high quality animation. The animation is gorgeous. The way that the action and the scenes and even the manga is drawn is really, really gorgeous. And that adds a lot to a good story. If you have good drawing and good artwork, that adds so much. Now, the creator was, I believe, if I remember correctly, and I remember hearing this a while, was, I believe, a assistant to the original creator for Chainsaw Man. It's the guy who made Chainsaw Man. This creator who did Dandadan worked kind of with him or under him, and then eventually made his own story, which is cool. So yeah, these are just some of my hot takes and some of my thoughts on Dandadan. I am still watching it. I have gone almost through the entire first season. If you are someone who watches, if you're someone who watches or likes this kind of stuff, do check it out. Now, there are some comedy pieces in here. I am not a huge fan of the comedy part of Dandadan. Like, they make a couple of jokes, but I don't know. It's to me, some of the comedy is just, sometimes it's a little brutal and a little harsh, which I feel like they go too far sometimes with that. Oh, and then other times it actually is funny. Although if you watch anime or have watched anime, you'll know that and not all the time, but sometimes it's the same dumb jokes over and over again. The same stupid, girl walks in or guy walks in on a girl naked and gets the shit beat out of him, right? I'm tired of that kind of stuff. It's dumb. It's not really that funny. It's boring. Okay, which they do a little bit of this in Dandadan. It's not like they don't stay on it, and there's like one or two scenes where that happens. And it's not like really terrible. I think the funniest, but also the worst part of the comedy piece of this show was when he has to go take a number 2 and they have to kind of stay with him to hold the curse off. That is freaking horrible. I mean, yeah, I can see where that is a little funny as well, but I'm sorry, but that is just freaking terrible. And also the other thing that is also a little bit funny, but also a little bit kind of messed up is the part where he has to pee and he has no nuts. How, like, I imagine that is a hard thing to do where if you have no privates whatsoever, your bait and tackle has been taken and you have to go to the bathroom. I don't even want to get into how that is even possible or why or what you would even do. But I feel like it's messed up to make someone sit there and run around in circles doing the pee-pee dance the whole time. We're sitting there having a casual conversation, right? And that person's just like wiggling around like, I gotta go. I mean, look, I can see where, yes, it is a little bit funny, but it's also really messed up in a lot of ways. So some of the comedy is, yeah, okay, I get it how you might giggle, you might laugh, but I also feel like it's really screwed up in a lot of ways. And I'm sure I'm not the only one to mention this. So I'll put it this way. It depends on what you think is funny. If you like that kind of humor, great. That's cool. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying that you shouldn't watch it or that it's a huge deal or that it's a deal breaker, because it's not. There's nothing, there's nothing there that wouldn't prevent you from watching. And the story is interesting enough where you could just ignore that and keep watching the show and be fine. My thing is that style of comedy, I find it disturbing, but also very, very like messed up in a way. And I've watched way worse than this. There are a lot of other shows out there that have worse comedy and worse writing. But like I said, you don't have to focus on this. So you could completely block this out and keep watching. Overall, the 3 points that I made the three pros for this show are the unique blend of genres, horror and comedy, the engaging characters, and the high quality animation. Those are definitely 3 really good points. And also, I think that Dandadan does this very, very well. So, yeah, I mean, overall, I look, I'm still watching this show, even though I have my hot takes and my issues with the show. But overall, I'm a fan of the show. I actually want to I still want to watch what's happening next, and I still want to see what's happening next. So let's go into the cons. Does Ultra Instinct taste good? I don't know. Can I taste Ultra Instinct?
Yeah, I do.
Maybe. So anyway, so the cons. Okay, so here are some of the cons. It says the show contains scenes that might be off-putting due to graphical nature. Now, this one I do agree with. There are some very graphical and also very off-putting scenes, which is why I mentioned when I was first talking about this in the beginning how the show starts out is very, very off-putting. And there's some stuff that is very disturbing, as well as the comedy in here is very disturbing. So yeah, that is also definitely a con if you're not someone who can stomach some of the disturbing scenes and also just the disturbing and like messed up jokes that they make in this show. You might not want to watch it. But if you like horror and comedy stuff, then you might be actually into this. Like me personally, I like dark anime, so I do tend to watch some dark shows. Yes, I think the comedy is really messed up in this show and also just disturbing and downright crude sometimes and mean. But like, it's nothing that would stop me from continuing to watch the show. However, I can agree with some of the scenes where, yeah, it gets a little graphic, it gets a little gross, and it could maybe, it could be a little off-putting to certain people, which is kind of a downside to this show. Second, complex plot. The mix of supernatural elements and romantic comedy might not be enjoyable for viewers looking for a straightforward storyline. Yes, I do kind of agree with this one where, with this particular point where, yeah, there is some supernatural elements and complex stuff in this show, which could be off-putting to some people or some people won't like. Everybody has their good points. Romantic comedy, I mean, so here's the thing, okay? I have my beef with anime and romantic comedy because like there are times where they do comedy very well. There are also times where they take it a little too far and they do some messed up, disturbing, downright just rude or mean stuff that just to me doesn't feel very funny. But look, that's your personal opinion. Everyone takes things a little differently, so maybe I'm taking it wrong, which could be too. And I've kind of been easing back on that and kind of been trying to be like, hey, look at it from a different perspective. And it hasn't been so bad. Their comedy recently has actually been better. But there are some times where I'm like, hey, I don't necessarily find some of these jokes funny, or I feel like they go too far with it. Which I can see that turning off people from watching a show like this or from getting into Dandadan. And look, I'm not saying that that's bad or that or anything like that. It just depends on how you personally interpret the comedy and what you find funny. Some people think that you trip and fall, they think that's funny, or someone slaps you upside the head and you go spinning around to the moon. Some people find that funny. I may not find that funny, but some people do. So it's all in your interpretation of like what kind of comedy you or what you think is funny. Romantic comedy depends on the romantic comedy, but usually and so far in this show they've done actually an okay job of mixing some comedy in there. Not all of it I find funny or fantastic. Some of it is kind of brutal and also kind of messed up and kind of crude. But I mean, look, I'm still watching. And yes, I am contrary to what I say, I am still a fan of the show. I think it is a really good story. I think they have a good thing going. So yeah, those are some of the cons to the show. And to be honest with you guys, there are way more pros to the show than there are cons. And there are way more good things to watch and also more interesting things to this story than there are bad. And to me, this show is definitely worth a watch. It is definitely interesting enough. The plot point and the way that they push the story forward, the pacing is very good. The artwork is amazing. No, you may not find all the jokes funny, but who cares? Like, you take it the way you want to take it. And if it was me, I'd say keep watching. The show is awesome. The music is top notch. Shout outs to Creepy Nuts, the band who does the artist and the band who does the music for this opening. It is all over the internet everywhere. They also do Mashal, which is the Brim Bum Bum Boom opening for Mashal, the series Magic vs. Muscle. Awesome show as well. Love the opening to that. So shout outs to Creepy Nuts, guys. And also shoutouts to Dragon Ball Super for these like weird but interesting sodas. Anyway, guys, that's what I have for you today. You might be asking, wait, you didn't do the thing about the soda. How is the Ultra Instinct soda? We'll find out in a second. Okay, so do I taste Ultra Instinct? Probably not. And I don't know if I want to taste Ultra Instinct because I feel like you can't really taste energy. Does it make me more powerful? Yes, I think it does. It definitely, I will say this, it definitely has a lot of sugar in it. So if you guys are thinking about picking these up, they have a lot of sugar. Be warned. Also, it makes me have to pee. So yeah, if you were in the Dandadan universe and you were drinking this, don't drink this. You would probably be running to the restroom every single time, and probably Turbo Granny would like take over every time. So yeah. So do I feel powerful? Maybe. Is it good? I don't know. It's okay. It's sugary and it's soda. So yeah. Is it a cool idea? Yeah, I definitely think having Ultra Instinct on a soda can is really cool, and they do make anime drinks, which is cool. Would I recommend it? That's up to you guys. You have to try it and see. I think it's awesome. I think it's cool. So yeah, I'd say give it a thumbs up. Anyway, guys, have a good day. I hope you guys liked this video. Oh, also, don't forget, guys, don't forget one other thing. Don't forget, if you like these videos, you want me to do more of this kind of thing, or you want to hear more of my opinion on anime, don't forget we do have a merch store. Pick up a shirt or a hat. We do have really cool hats on our store. Not this hat, but we do have other really awesome hats with logos and stuff. But if you guys like this video, do drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts on Dandadan. Let me know if you've tried these Dragon Ball Z drinks. Do, if you have not already,
Get over here.
and get subscribed. Because there's a lot more coming. Sorry about that. I did have to run to the bathroom, sorry. This drink will make you pee. So yeah, do get subscribed if you have not already. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys like this video. I will catch you guys in the next one. As always, farewell. Peace, guys. Have a great day.
Hi there. Please subscribe or follow DNA Anime Blog and DNA Studios on all of their social media platforms. Okay, bye!